The psychology of being unforgettable. How to become the person they regret losing. Intro. People never regret losing what's common. They regret losing what's rare. There are two kinds of people in this world. 1. The ones easily replaced. 2. The ones impossible to forget. The difference isn't looks, status, money, attraction, or talent. It's psychology. Being unforgettable is not about who you are. It's about who you become in their mind. It's about the emotional imprint you leave, the way you elevate their life, the standards you embody, the experience of losing you, the version of themselves they were with you, the version of you they can't replicate with anyone else. People don't regret losing someone because they suddenly gained wisdom. They regret losing someone because reality finally forces them to face a truth they avoided. No one else gives me what that person did. The unforgettable person is not perfect. They're impactful. They change the room. They alter identity. They raise the bar. They shift expectations. They challenge mediocrity. They bring clarity people didn't know they needed. But most importantly, they walk away the moment they're no longer valued. That is what creates regret. You don't become unforgettable by trying harder. You become unforgettable the moment you stop trying at all. This audiobook is not about tricks, dating hacks, manipulation, or ego. It's about psychological positioning, becoming a person who triggers reflection, longing, comparison, nostalgia, regret, realization, emotional imprint, psychological addiction. Not through force, but through identity mastery. When this is done right, they don't move on, they downgrade. They temporarily distract themselves. They find someone else, but that person never feels like you. Because unforgettable people are not replaced. They are remembered. And the memory burns. Only continue if you proved your worth and readiness. If you haven't subscribed as proof of your commitment to yourself and me, then stop now and subscribe and like and lock in. If not, stop and leave. If you don't show a commitment to yourself now by following a simple yet powerful symbolic metaphor, then you're not ready to rebuild yourself and transform, and you're not ready for this. And this wasn't made for you. If you already subscribed and liked the video, you're in the right place at the right time, and this is meant for you, and you will get what you're looking for. I did the same thing and went through the same challenges and damage. We're doing this together. Let's fucking go. Chapter 6. Your value multiplies the moment you stop proving it. Here is the paradox. The more you prove your worth, the less they believe it. The more you explain yourself, the less they listen. The more you justify your value, the less they appreciate it. Human psychology is simple, what we chase, we devalue. What we walk away from, we elevate. Unforgettable people don't. Beg, explain, justify, overcorrect, overshare, force appreciation. They become unforgettable the moment they stop trying to be. The moment you stop proving, others start noticing. The moment you stop chasing, others start regretting. The moment you stop explaining, others start reflecting. The moment you stop showing up, others start missing you. Regret forms when silence replaces reassurance, when presence becomes memory, when access becomes scarcity. When you stop proving your value, they are forced to confront it. And the truth is, they always knew your worth. They just assumed you'd never stop offering it. Chapter 7. The human brain remembers contrast, not consistency. People don't remember constant comfort. They remember contrast. The person who felt different. The connection that felt deeper. The energy that felt unique. The presence that felt irreplaceable. The standard that felt higher. The honesty that felt refreshing. Regret is triggered by contrast, not time. They meet someone new, and the contrast hurts. They experience a lower standard, and the contrast breaks them. They feel less understood, and the contrast frustrates them. They feel less valued, and the contrast exposes everything they lost. Being unforgettable means you created a before-after effect in their life. Before you, they were one version of themselves. After you, they became aware of a deeper, better version. That version disappears with you, and the mind never forgets the person who awakened the identity they can't recreate. People regret losing the one who improved their life, not the one who simply existed in it. Chapter 8. Boundaries create regret faster than love ever could. Most people confuse boundaries with punishment. Boundaries are not punishment. Boundaries are identity. Unforgettable people have boundaries that say, I don't tolerate inconsistency. I don't reward disrespect. I don't repeat myself. I don't negotiate my standards. I don't argue with immaturity. I don't entertain emotional laziness. I don't chase anyone, ever. Boundaries make you unforgettable because they protect your self-respect, elevate your perceived value, demand emotional maturity, create scarcity, generate comparison, inspire regret. Nobody regrets losing someone who tolerated everything. People regret losing the person who refused to tolerate anything less than what they deserved. Boundaries create an emotional shockwave. I didn't think they'd actually leave. Regret is the echo of that shockwave. Chapter 9. The most unforgettable people are the ones who made you grow. You want to know what people regret most? Not love, not romance, not shared moments, growth. Unforgettable people are catalysts. They challenge, elevate, confront truth, expose patterns, improve, inspire, remove excuses, demand accountability. Most connections are comfortable. Your presence was transformational. Transformational people are unforgettable because losing them feels like losing direction, losing discipline, losing identity, losing clarity, losing motivation, losing purpose. You didn't just make them feel something, you made them better, and everyone remembers the person who improved their life, even if they weren't ready to admit it while they had you. Chapter 10. The Science of Regret. People miss what they cannot recreate. People don't miss you. People miss the version of themselves they were around you, the emotions you awakened, the motivation you triggered, the peace you created, the clarity you provided, the energy your presence carried, the comfort of your loyalty, the standard of your love, the way they felt seen, safe, understood, elevated. These are psychological imprints, and once imprinted, they cannot be replaced, only contrasted. This is why their replacement always fails, because the replacement isn't competing with you. They're competing with the version of themselves they were when they were with you, and that version is gone. The deeper the emotional imprint, the harder the regret hits. People regret losing the person who shaped a piece of their identity. You weren't a chapter. You were a turning point, and turning points are unforgettable. Chapter 11. When you become the one they compare everyone else to, this is where the regret crystallizes. Once you're gone, the comparison begins. Why doesn't this new person understand me like they did? Why don't I feel as seen? Why don't I feel as secure? Why don't I feel as challenged? Why doesn't this connection feel as deep? Why don't I feel as respected? Why don't I feel as inspired? Comparison is unstoppable. It's involuntary. It's psychological. It's subconscious. And worst of all, they don't control it. Everyone they meet afterwards will be measured against you. Not because you were perfect, but because you were impactful. You left a psychological blueprint that others can't fill. Comparison creates clarity. Clarity creates regret. Regret creates longing. Longing creates obsession. And obsession? That's what makes a person truly unforgettable. Chapter 12. You become unforgettable. The moment you stop trying to be remembered. People don't remember desperation. People don't remember attachment. People don't remember insecurity. They remember confidence, confidence in your standards, confidence in your silence, confidence in your absence, confidence in your walk away, confidence in your future, confidence in your identity. Unforgettable people aren't remembered because they force themselves into someone's life. They're remembered because they remove themselves the moment their value goes unrecognized. You don't become unforgettable through effort. You become unforgettable through self-respect. Your absence delivers the message your presence never could. Unforgettable people don't stick around long enough to become ordinary. They leave while their value is still undeniable. That is how you become the regret they can't erase. Chapter 13. The Emotional Blueprint Effect. You become their internal standard. Every unforgettable person creates what psychologists call an emotional blueprint, a template, a reference point, a psychological benchmark. This blueprint becomes the unconscious standard they compare every future relationship to. You didn't just participate in their life. You altered their expectations. You showed them what real respect feels like, what emotional depth feels like, what honesty feels like, what stability feels like. So, what attraction with substance feels like, what intelligent connection feels like, what being truly seen feels like. Once someone experiences this level of clarity, they cannot return to confusion. Once they experience authenticity, they cannot tolerate inconsistency. Once they experience emotional safety, they cannot settle for chaos. Once they experience your presence, they cannot forget it. You became their blueprint. Their heart will reference you forever. That is not romance. That is psychology. Chapter 14. Regret begins when they realize you were not a fluke. You were the best part. Regret doesn't start the moment you leave. Regret starts the moment the world fails to replace you. It starts when they realize, I didn't lose someone. I lost my best chance at something healthy. I didn't lose attention. I lost consistency. I didn't lose affection. I lost depth. I didn't lose company. I lost understanding. I didn't lose attraction. I lost connection. I didn't lose a chapter. I lost the person who made me better. Regret hits when life delivers clarity harder than you ever could. It hits when they start to see patterns. The same problems they blamed you for repeat with other people. The same issues they ignored become unavoidable. The same flaws they projected onto you show up in every connection. And suddenly, you weren't the problem. You were the stability. You were the upgrade. You were the exception. Regret begins when truth replaces their denial. Chapter 15. Why your glow-up is their emotional punishment. Nothing intensifies regret like watching you evolve. Not change. Evolve. People expect you to fall apart. They expect you to chase closure. They expect you to be stuck. They expect you to spiral. They expect you to break. But when you don't, when you improve, when you elevate, when you succeed, you become their walking consequence. Your glow-up is the reminder that they misjudged you. They misplayed their hand. They took you for granted. They assumed you'd never leave. They assumed you'd wait for them. They underestimated who you were becoming. Your glow-up is the most painful form of regret because it proves something they feared. You were never the one who needed them. They were the one who needed you. And now they have to watch you thrive without a single piece of their involvement. That is punishment life delivers on your behalf. Chapter 16. Your absence forces them to face themselves. The truth is this: people don't fear losing you. People fear facing themselves once you're gone. Your absence exposes their immaturity, their inconsistency, their emotional laziness, their avoidance, their fear of intimacy, their patterns, their excuses, their lack of effort, their self-sabotage. You were the mirror that made them uncomfortable. Losing you takes that mirror away, but the problems remain. Now, without your presence to stabilize or soften the truth, their flaws confront them directly. This confrontation creates guilt, shame, clarity, regret, internal conflict, self-comparison, longing. You didn't punish them by leaving. You forced them into growth they were avoiding, and growth always begins with regret. Chapter 17. The reason they can't forget you. You weren't just a person, you were a shift. Forgettable people add to your life. Unforgettable people transform it. You weren't a detail, you were a turning point. You weren't a moment. You were a revelation. You weren't an experience. You were an awakening. This is why they can't forget you. You shifted their identity. You shifted the way they communicate, the way they trust, the way they love, the way they self-reflect, the way they see relationships, the way they understand intimacy, the way they evaluate potential, the way they measure connection. You didn't entertain them, you elevated them. You didn't fill space, you changed the atmosphere. You didn't blend in. You stood out in ways their mind cannot erase. This is why trying to forget you only makes them remember you more. You became part of the story they tell themselves about who they are and who they should have been. Unforgettable people become internal landmarks. They don't fade, they echo. Chapter 18. The psychology of being missed. They don't miss you. They miss what you did to their world. Missing someone is not emotional. It's neurological. They don't miss you as a person. They miss the dopamine you brought, the stability you provided, the comfort you offered, the excitement you awakened, the security you embodied, the clarity you created, the emotional home you built, the version of themselves they were around you. You weren't an accessory to their life. You were the structure, and once that structure collapses, their mind keeps reaching for the person who made them feel strongest, safest, and most alive. Missing you is not sentimentality. It is dependence. It is conditioning. It is identity attachment. And once that attachment forms, the mind does not let go easily. This is where unforgettable becomes permanent. Not because they can't live without you, but because no one else can replicate the world you built inside them.